Hi there, I'm so excited to share this presentation with you for the summit. It is building a tight-knit community to cut through the noise online. There are two reasons I think community is about to become more important than ever, especially for coaches. But before I answer that, let me tell you a little bit about myself and what brings me here today. I'm Mackenzie-Smith. I've been a business coach and strategist for 10 years. I've also been a trainer for life coaches and worked with thousands of coaches over the past 10 years. I'm also a speaker, writer, host of the Emerge and Expand podcast and business membership, and the brand new Cozy Community Hub membership as well. I have a Bachelor of Mass Communications and worked in television for almost a decade, and I have won International Coach of the Year 2023 and just recently was nominated for Business Coach of the Decade, International Coach of the Decade, and Asia Pacific Coach of the Decade, where I won Asia Pacific Coach of the Decade for 2014-2024. I obviously started coaching 10 years ago, a long time ago in the grand scheme of coaching, when it was a really new industry, especially in the form that we see it today. And I did all of the things that we're all taught even today. I spent thousands on courses and working with coaches and investing in myself as we're all taught to do, following other people's steps to success. And some of those absolutely worked, the different strategies, trying new things, and left me exhausted or not working with the people that I knew I could most support, or they just didn't work for me at all. And I always put it back to myself, being not good enough, being a failure. And it took just 2 years into my coaching business. I had reached a certain level of success in that time, but I was so burnt out and exhausted and couldn't see how I could possibly continue on with this idea of exponential growth and being bigger every single year and that be sustainable for me. I walked away from my business for 3 years and supported my partner who was starting up a gym studio business and had multiple studios over that time, and eventually realized that I absolutely had to return to my own business and the work that I knew that I really wanted to do, but I knew that I had to find a way to do it differently so that it would be sustainable for me. And that brings me to today, where I'm so passionate about supporting other service-based solopreneurs, particularly coaches, to create businesses that are aligned with them, that work with their strengths and their energy, especially if they're more introverted, highly sensitive, and neurodivergent. While I've been on this journey myself to creating my own cozy business, which is what I call it, where I get to show up every day and do the things that I love the most without focusing so much on what everybody else is doing, what everyone else is teaching, and doing things on my own terms in alignment with my own goals and my own version of success. So that's a little bit about me. Let me come back to the statement that I posed right at the start around why I think community is about to become more important than ever. We already know that community in so many different ways is important, especially when it comes to building your own online business, particularly in the coaching industry. But the reason why I want to support other people to create their own cozy communities is two reasons. First of all, about a year ago, I realized with the explosion of AI and ChatGPT that AI generated content is about to make the online space even noisier. And this was a real concern for me because so many of my clients and members are already feeling like they are creating content that isn't reaching people, that it's a lot of time and energy to put content out there. And this shift in the market was about to make it even harder for them. And secondly, a big audience doesn't always equal big success. And I witnessed this over and over again on platforms like TikTok, where it became so easy to create a huge following and audience on that platform, and then people wanting to monetize that or ask their followers to support their creative projects off that platform and not being able to get any sales at all. There was one in particular, someone who created a film, and they were hoping that their audience of millions of people would just give $5 to $10, and they couldn't get any money at all. So over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you why community is important for coaches, especially if you're sick of social media and content creating and want to get back to coaching, the key elements of a tight-knit community and how that leads to more clients, what makes a cozy community different to the kind of online community that we are all used to and why that matters, and actionable tips and strategies to get you started. So first up, the power of community. Why community is important for coaches, especially if you're sick of social media and want to get back to coaching. If you're anything like me and my clients and members, you didn't get into coaching and start your own business to be a marketing or social media expert or even a content creator. You've been sold so many steps to success and one-size-fits-all strategies that haven't necessarily worked for you or been in alignment with your strengths or even taken you in the direction of your goals. Your biggest recurring challenge is getting clients and doing things like selling in DMs, becoming a pro marketer, and creating complicated funnels aren't really in your wheelhouse, or worse, they give you the ick. You're trying to juggle so many different roles, especially if you're a solopreneur, and you want to just get back to the thing that you love, which is coaching. So I want to invite you to take a moment to think about a community you're a part of or have been in the past where you felt so seen and connected and really a part of something bigger than yourself or the person whose community you were in. And then take a moment to think about one where you felt like just another number, where you felt like you were getting lost in the crowd, even if it was a paid offer or community that you were a part of. You might even want to take some notes or jot down the difference between those two, because I always find even when I've had negative experiences being part of different communities and programs, it's actually helped me to realize what it is that I want to do differently in my space, what I know I definitely want to include, and how I really want my people to feel. Focusing energy on your community means that you're building something bigger than yourself. Like-minded people are coming together around a common theme or purpose. This actually takes a lot of pressure off you being perfect, feeling like you have to have everything together, and also being the person that is the only driving force of a community existing. It can be a lot of energy, and at first, sure, it's going to take some time to build that, but actually creating a community where people feel like they're a part of something means that you will be able to step back a little bit and not be the only reason that that community exists or continues. You're able to build more meaningful connections in the container of a community space that's different to the public nature of, say, social media, and also this kind of mentality of posting and just hoping that people will see it. You get to create opportunities for yourself to showcase your skills, get real-time feedback of what your ideal clients are actually looking for, and then create offers and content specifically for them, which is going to help them to feel seen, but it's also going to mean that what you create is actually something that people want. And it takes away the need to be on that content hamster wheel that feels like it's this never-ending thing by actually sharing from the inside out of what's going on in the community, the kinds of conversations that are taking place, and great insights from inside your community. That means that you've always got content to share across your other platforms. The key elements of a tight-knit community. There are a lot of misconceptions that you decide to become a coach, you set up a free Facebook group or Instagram account, and suddenly you'll have all these people DMing you wanting to work together. I have seen this play out over and over again over the years, and it's very different now compared to what it used to be. There is a lot more noise on social media, especially on those two platforms, and the ever-changing algorithm also means that even if you build a big community, a big following, that your people might not always see your content. But I also think it's led to a little bit of entitlement in the industry where we think that that's all we need to do. We just need to show up and share a bit of content and we should have people flocking to us. But at the heart of everything, it's always going to be about relationship building and connection. So the core elements of a tight-knit community for coaches is coming together for a common goal or shared interest, particularly if that's related to your work and your transformation, your niche, and or your message. So thinking about what is it that your people are really looking for and creating a community that revolves around that core theme or topic. You want to create a space where you're bringing together people who have shared values and that they have kind of bought into the bigger mission and vision for the space. So they, again, feel like they're part of something and they're excited and motivated to join in and engage and contribute to the space. Think about Simon Sinek's Start With Why. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but that is a really good starting place to why people would be invested in joining your community, whether it's a free or a paid one. Meaningful engagement, which I mentioned just before, that is not just about being put on a pedestal or being the guru, leader, expert. That has been popular in the past, and especially if you've been around for a while as a coach, you'll know that there was a very big trend of that. The influencer coaches, these people with huge followings who were very aspirational and popular, but that's not where we're at now. The industry has evolved and matured, and people are looking for something more real and relatable. And coming into creating and building your community with this idea of co-creation, collaboration, openness, shared experiences that create deeper connection, allow more real conversations, and help your people really feel seen. It's not about you having all the answers and being this all-knowing leader expert, but you're actually holding space for a group of people to come together, share their experiences and insights too, from a place of everyone having something valuable to contribute from their own lived experience. So this is the Start With Why Golden Circle that Simon Sinek has from his book and popular TED Talk. And this is from my Cozy Community Creator Hub. I've pulled this straight out to share with you. This Golden Circle is such a great starting point for defining your core principles and beliefs as the foundation of your whole business, because your people with those shared values and beliefs will be drawn to your bigger mission. So this isn't just about thinking, why does my community exist? Why am I creating this? It goes through to the core of why this business, why do you do the work that you do, and what is the deeper purpose that inspires and drives you that other people can get on board with, because that's what they're excited about too. Over the years, as I have put this at the forefront of my community, the changes that I've seen is that we have more nuanced conversations and are able to go deeper, which means that it's unreplicatable. It means that even if someone comes into one of my spaces or my programs, downloads everything, and then tries to copy and replicate it as their own, what we do in the community and that connection and engagement cannot be duplicated. And so that makes it impossible to copy, but also so valuable and what really can stand out in a crowded market. And I'm a business coach, it is crowded. People don't feel the hero worship kind of intimidation like when you are that kind of big influencer or aspirational kind of coach, which means they actually trust you more. They feel like they can relate to you and connect with you and resonate with you on a different level, which makes them those really dream ideal clients. They feel seen and heard in ways that they might not have been in other spaces, which means that they want to stick around. Again, if you think back to thinking about times that you have felt seen in a community versus times that you've maybe felt like just a number getting lost in the crowd and thousands of people in a space. And they feel a part of something bigger than themselves. They bring their like-minded friends. They want to tell people they're excited to share what they're a part of, and they feel a sense of pride and ownership being in your community. Why cozy communities matter? So what makes a cozy community different to a regular community that we all know that we need to build? We're all familiar with this idea. We've all probably been told that we need to start a free Facebook group, we need an email list, or we need to be posting on various social media platforms. What is the difference between the way we've maybe been taught or think about community versus this idea of creating a cozy, tight-knit community? So if you've heard of 1000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly, or even 100 True Fans by Li Jin, which is kind of taken from that bigger concept and brought down to an even smaller number of people, the concept is that you can make good money with a small community whilst maintaining a personal touch and sustainability. Definitely look these articles up if you haven't read them before. Essentially, the idea is thinking about creating basically super fans. I don't personally align with the idea of creating fans. I want to create this community where we have a much deeper connection, but I love the concept of the 1000 True Fans, essentially where you create a much more tight-knit or cozy community of people who are so part of your mission and your vision. They really see it, they want to be a part of it, and they feel connected and like they're on this journey with you. And focusing on those people who are going to join everything that you create, or they're going to share your work from the rooftops. They really are people who are so engaged in your mission and want to be a part of it, versus having millions of followers that don't really care that much about you. The idea is that you could have 1,000 people paying you $100 a year and have $100,000 business, or in Li Jin's example is having 100 true fans that pay you $1,000 a year. The difference is that you can have this tight-knit community where you actually know every single person. It is so much easier to keep track of and build relationships with 100 people. And I don't know about you, this might not be for you, and that is absolutely okay. But I love the idea of being able to build deeper connections with less people, and it just feels so much more personal and sustainable for me. Obviously, we live in a world where the industry has become so fixated on this idea of a six-figure business. About 4 years ago, it was a six-figure business. Then it was a seven-figure business. Now people are talking about building an 8 or 9-figure bigger business. And whilst that is amazing and everyone should absolutely be working towards the business of their dreams and the amount of money that they want to make and all of that, but I also know that when you're just starting out, or if you haven't quite hit that 6 figures yet, it can be impossible to even imagine making 8 or 9 figures. And let's be realistic, the average income for coaching is less than $70,000 a year, and some statistics even show that 70 to 80% of coaches make less than $20,000 a year. So it is really hard to think of that bigger number when you're maybe in the early stages of your business and you haven't kind of got anywhere close to that 6 figures yet. Our industry has become so fixated on that, this idea of scaling quickly and exponential growth and building a team to outsource as much as possible, as cheaply as possible, and grow a huge following. But that's not for everybody. And one of the things that I realized in the time between when I walked away from my business and since returning to it and trying to find and continuously being on this journey towards creating a sustainable, cozy business has been that I don't want to build an empire. I am not interested in managing a team. I've done that before and I don't particularly enjoy it. And so that really helps people who join my community who also don't want that. If you do, there are plenty of people out there teaching it and they are all incredible and doing amazing work as well, but it's not for everybody and it's rarely sustainable. I definitely don't believe that it is. And the industry and the audience is changing. We're already starting to see this. If you have also witnessed this, that people who have maybe been doing the same thing for many, many years and been very successful have started to change up their business model in the last 6 to 12 months because the industry has changed, the economy has changed, and the things that have always worked aren't necessarily working the same anymore. A tight-knit community is about doing more with less, forming lasting relationships instead of churning through people, focusing on sales and burning out with massive launches. So again, this is from the Cozy Community Hub. This is my hierarchy of community needs based off Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is not just about creating a free Facebook group like we've all been taught to do and then trying to get as many people into that group as possible. This is about planning, creating content and opportunities, and engaging with our community in a different way. And so we're thinking about more than just what's going to get as much engagement as possible for the algorithm. So you might have various different communities like your email community, or you might also have free or paid other spaces where your people are coming together to have these conversations, connect with you further, learn more about your work, see what you actually do up close and personal, and then make a decision about working with you further. You may have a paid membership or program that you're bringing people into. Obviously, where it falls in your client journey and whether it's free or paid, low ticket, high ticket, all of those things is going to determine how much time and energy you have to invest into that. And it will be different levels of access depending on the investment probably. But having a think about where are those physiological needs being met. So I'm going to use my hub as an example of this. The physiological needs of my community hub, which is a $7 a month membership, is hitting those basic needs that someone might feel that it's worth paying $7 a month for, such as access to resources, information, and basic functionality within the community. So that's things like the trainings, my Canva templates, my community management dashboard, and having access to a community where they can ask questions and get feedback. Safety and security is thinking about things like having clear community guidelines, moderation, data privacy assurances, and a supportive community culture where people feel that they can be open and share their challenges and what they're going through, but also how we're moderating and managing that to take care of people who hold marginalized identities and making sure that everyone feels really good in the space. There is the middle tier, which is the social needs. So it's the interaction, engagement, collaboration, and forming relationships with other members. This is where it becomes a community where people are coming together, connecting with each other as much as they're trying to connect with you. Then we have esteem, which is the recognition for contributions, achievements, expertise, appreciation. So this is when people are starting to feel really a part of your community, where you are giving shout outs for people who are the most engaged, who are taking action, and you're really building those relationships. You're calling on your people to share their expertise, and you're creating kind of a culture of celebration. And finally, this self-actualization organization tier is advocacy for the community's mission, deep engagement, active participation, and a sense of purpose and fulfillment. This is the top tier. These are your 1% of people who you have really deep connections with, who are really invested in the community itself. And so an example of this is in my Emerge and Expand program, where I have members who are going out and actively promoting being a part of that community. I was at an event the other week with one of my members, and instead of meeting up and networking with people and telling them about her work, she was telling them about how they need to join our community. And I'm so grateful for that. But it's just an example of what happens when people get to that level. Not everyone's going to be in your community to hit all of those tiers. There are going to be people that come and go, and it's only going to be a small percentage at the top. That's why it's at the top of the pyramid that really reach that point. But just to have an understanding of why people are a part of your community, and it's always going to be for different reasons. So how to build a cozy community. This is obviously a massive subject, but here are some actionable tips to get you started. Chances are you probably already have started something. You might have a Facebook group. You might have your email community. Start there and evolve it with meaning, purpose, and intention versus doing it because somebody told you to. Take a step back for a minute and tap into the bigger vision of the community, what you support people with, and how bringing them together in a community space can add to this and allow you to showcase your work, your skills, and what it is that you actually do with people. Decide on the platform and format that you enjoy and love to be on. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it never will. You will most likely change and create communities in different places and different ways, but it has to at least be something you're excited about. So if you cannot stand the thought of being on Facebook any more than you need to be, it's probably not the best idea to start a Facebook group because you're not even going to want to be on there. And that's the energy that you are then bringing to that space. And create a plan for why the community exists, what it's for, how you can invite new people in, how you can nurture and take care of the existing members, and what is the natural next step for people. So where does this space fall on your client journey or your customer journey? If it's a free community and you're inviting people into an offer or your one-on-one work, what that might look like, how you could make those invitations. Or if you're doing something like me, a membership of some sort, whether it's a low, mid, or high ticket membership, that's going to determine where that falls in that customer journey and what that natural next step might look like. Create engaging content and conversations. Encourage your people to ask questions, support each other, celebrate, and give feedback. These are all going to add to that hierarchy of community needs and meet people on different levels. Share behind the scenes and little sneak peeks on your other platform, aka from the inside out. So when you're sharing from the inside out, you're not necessarily sharing personal or confidential conversations that are happening in your community, but you can distill themes and share things that are going on in the space, and also create content from those conversations, from the suggestions and the coaching and the questions that you ask in that space. You can then pull some of that out, share it publicly, and use that as an amazing opportunity to invite people into the community. Give more than you ask. So think about, I'm not going to be selling constantly all the time. Giving more than you ask. So you want to be mindful of your boundaries and make sure that you aren't over giving to a point where you get completely burnt out or nobody wants to work with you further because you've just given everything in the space. But you also don't want to be selling and promoting all the time. So you want to find a really beautiful balance where you do give an incredible amount of value, but you then also make the ask as well. You create invitations and opportunities for people to work with you further when they're ready for the next step. People will always outgrow your free content, your low ticket content. And so it's up to you to make sure that there are invitations there for those people when they get to that point. And showcase your skills and experience. Create opportunities to do the things you love best, which is coaching, and reward and recognize your people. So one thing that I notice a lot is when people are in that point where they don't have clients yet, or they are having a dry spell and don't have any clients right now, that they then go into instant, I must try and sell and promote and do a lot of things to try and get those new clients in. And then they feel kind of disappointed or bitter or like they want to quit when that doesn't immediately happen. If you find find yourself in that place, create opportunities where you can still do the thing, do the coaching, but you can reward your members, the people in your community, and also showcase your skills. Add that call to action or invitation at the end. And so not only are you getting to keep practicing your skills and show people the amazing result they could get with you if they work with you, you're also giving so much value, creating those connections and having that natural invitation instead of it feeling salesy and forced. This is a paraphrasing of an amazing conversation I heard the other day from Sam Ovens, the founder of School, which is a paid community platform. You may be familiar with it. Don't build the community you think will make the most money or get the most traction. Build the community you want to be a part of. I just love that so much because I resonated so deeply with it. It's such a big part of this mission that I'm currently on. And the sky's the limit. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, but how do I start? Where do I start? Which platform? How should I do it? What format should it be in? As I said, start with what you've already got. There are so many different ways that you can build community now more than ever. So you think about your free social communities. You're always going to be fighting the algorithm, unfortunately, with these ones. But you've got Facebook groups, you've got LinkedIn groups. You can use Slack or Discord to create free communities, especially if you have something like a podcast or a YouTube channel and you want to bring those people together in a more private way. The Instagram broadcast channel is another way to do this. Like I said, the sky's the limit. There is so many different ways that you can do this. There are paid communities like School, Heartbeat, Circle, Mighty Network, so you can actually pay to be off a social media platform, but still within that sort of social space. There is your email community. There is Substack, which is amazing for people who love writing and creating content in that way, and also subscription style platforms like Patreon. And then you've got things like in-person events, live online experiences, pop-up groups, paid memberships. There are so many different ways that you can create community, and there's a good chance that you're going to have a couple of different versions of this. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a before and after so you can really see the value of putting energy when you're probably already so busy and have so much going on into creating your own tight-knit, cozy community. The before is that you're stuck on that content creation hamster wheel, feeling like you're yelling into the void every time it feels like you're getting tractions, every time it feels like you might be getting traction or getting into a flow with it. Either something comes up and you get busy and stop posting, or the algorithm changes on the platform and suddenly all the things that were working last week aren't working now. You might find yourself wondering where your next client is coming from, or if anyone is even interested in your work and your offer, because it's just been tumbleweeds for so long and you're not really sure how to change that without investing in another program or spending hundreds of dollars on ads. And that disconnected, feeling like you're the only one, not just the only one in your business going through this, but when you think about your niche and the experiences that have brought you to why you're doing this work, that you're the only one and really isolated in that space. And you don't even know where to find your people. The after version is that you're part of something and you have purpose, even if it's going to take a little bit of time, even if you have to invite people in individually, one person at a time. You have a bigger vision and a way of bringing people together and why you're doing that. You're focusing on slow and steady, meaningful connections instead of trying to go viral by dancing on TikTok, trying to cold DM people, trying to target millions of people with Facebook ads and hope that you find the right people through that. Your dream clients are literally right in front of you, even when you post on social media, because they're a part of your tight-knit community. That then translates across to your social media because you've built that connection with them in this space. And so when they see you on other platforms, they're going to be more engaged, and that is going to be so good for your social content as well. So let me just recap everything because I have been over so much in this. The time of being the guru or expert, that curated rags to riches kind of story, I was in the depths of this and then I just did this one thing that I created myself and now I'll teach you to do the same thing. And that social media content of like everything being curated and looking so perfect, being that aspirational influencer coach is coming to an end. That's not to say there's not people out there still making loads of money doing that. And also if that is what you want to do, then go for it. But if that isn't you, then I just have to say that there is another way, and this relatable, real and raw way is the new way to connect with your people. Being yourself and yes, sharing what you've learned and sharing your journey, but also that you are imperfect and you're human and that these things that you have learned along the way have helped you get to where you are today. With the rise of AI generated content, the online space is about to get even noisier, if that is even possible. And so instead of being disappointed or upset about the changes that are happening, let's not fight it. Let's use AI as our friend to help us and support us, especially if you're a solopreneur, but focusing on a tight-knit, cozy community of dream clients within a space where everyone comes together is going to be the way to cut through that noise and not care about the algorithm, not worry about a TikTok ban or whatever might be happening. Start with why and bringing together like-minded people working towards a common goal or purpose over going viral. So again, relating this back to your work that you do, the transformation you offer, your mission and message, or your niche even, and what those people's common goal or common problem is. And start with what you've got and what feels natural. So if you love doing video, then how can you implement that into your community? If you prefer to write, which platform is going to best support you in that? Get clear on your vision and trust that it's going to evolve over time. You're going to learn things, you're going to get feedback from your people and be able to evolve it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fully planned from the get-go. It is going to evolve over time. So what I've created for you, especially for this is not available anywhere else, is the community toolkit. I've pulled together some resources to get you started. So some of this is from the hub. We have the community building blueprint for coaches, and this is little pieces to get you started thinking about what your cozy community could look like. We have 30 engagement prompt cards and a one-page community plan. So if you grab this and actually put time aside to work on it, you're going to have a plan that's going to mean it's more sustainable. You actually know what you're doing and you're going to be able to keep going with it moving forward. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Make sure that you grab the community toolkit from the links that you've been provided. And if you want to connect with me or ask any other questions, probably the easiest way is to head over to Instagram, send me a DM at miss_KMS.